What's going on, guys? This is an update to the sales pipeline model. If you saw here, the last video I did on this was back in October 26, 2016, a couple years ago. And so what I want to do is, I've gone through, done hundreds of jobs since then, got some new insights, new possible logic that might make this better. So what I'm going to do is, um, I'm going to make a brand new sales pipeline tracking template. I'm going to do it in Google Sheets. It will also be available in Excel. And so what I'm going to do, I'm actually not done with this. I'm actually really struggling here, but I wanted to take you through my thought process so you can see kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm trying to do this. Um, so basically, what we have here is the idea is to try to, well, first of all, it's for a business that has large contracts. Um, so probably construction type of deals, uh, I don't know, maybe enterprise tech companies that just have a couple, or have fewer very large clients like whales. It could also be used if you want to plan out like the next couple of years of based on possible jobs that you think will be starting. You want to see what that revenue looks like. So I've just kind of set the data input first. And here you can see it's just a list of possible contracts that you might have. I just did 21 possibilities here. This could be modified and you could really drag this down to show as many as you want. But what it is not for is where you've got, 4,000 customers that all have kind of the same type of contract and it's recurring revenue. I have other models for that, which you can see on smarthelping.com, for like recurring revenue of broad users. This is more for specific deals, and you want to see what those deals look like in the next 5 years based on a whole bunch of stuff. So the first thing is obviously we need some kind of time frame to reference. So what I've done is, you'll have your start date here. You pick your start year really, and then you'll see a validation list of out 60 months from the first month of the start year. Um, so you pick the month you plan on the given contract starting. You can put in the term in months, and you can put in any number here. It could be 1 through whatever, however many months. And then based on that, you'll see and end month here. Now the end month is actually might not be relevant, and here's where I'm trying to figure out, and I won't drag you through the whole process of me figuring out, but I'm going to take you to the key points of while I'm building this, what I'm actually trying to figure out. So the issue I'm running into right now is I want to say, you pick your start months of a given contract, you put how many months the contract is for, the total contract value, and then that gives you a monthly. I mean, in this could be reversed pretty easily. You could do, what's the monthly contract value, and then based on the term, you get the total value. I thought it was easier. It might be more streamlined if you put in the total value, and then based on the terms, it gives you the monthly value that will flow. Now, here's the hard part. Let's say we don't want to just say, is this contract going to renew? Yes or no. Um, Also, I mean, how do we do contract renewals? So we could assign a probability to a contract renewing in consecutive times. Like if this is a 4-month contract, 95% chance of renewal, that means every fourth month it needs to do a 95% probability formula and say, based on 95% renewal, does it renew for the fifth month? And then it would look at the 6 months or the let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. It look at the ninth month, and then so on, and check. Did the contract renew based on this probability? And then it could change based on the probabilities you assign. You would see a spread of revenues, and it would change every time the spreadsheet updates based on these. Now that's one way to do it, which I'm not sure I'm going to do yet. And this, I was just testing some things here. So the other way you can do it is on this matrix, you can see how I've done a formula that this basically says, is it a renewal date or not? And actually, this has to be over one because this is on the 12th. Let's say this was every 12 months, it had to check. Well, that means I actually don't want it to check on the 12th month. I want it to run the check on the 13th month. So let's see, we need to do if, well, I don't know. I'll see that'll take a while to figure out. So that's the one way to do it is this probability. The other thing you can do, which is more, you have a user interface with this, is basically you go to every, it'll tell you what the contract renewal times are, and you just put yes or no. And that's pretty much, you might as well just put a start month and an end month and do revenue for that whole time, and that's it. It's pretty simple. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to make this probability matrix work because I think it's cooler and it's more dynamic. It gives you a better idea of revenues based on given percentages. The thing is, I'm going to have to try, number one, I got to shift this over 1 month. Number two, I need to figure out how to look at this consecutively. So if we do see if in a contract month, the answer is no, then all future contract months must be no. Otherwise, it can test and possibly be yes. So, so that's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, once I get this figured out, it'll be a pretty easy to generate this, and then you can say you can get to a high level summary and say, based on these probabilities of contract renewals, this is what our expected revenue may look like, and then you could just update it. Because obviously these percentages, if it's 50-50, over time, it'll be interesting. Because obviously with the forecast, you never know. You don't have certainty. So this is to try to integrate the uncertainty of a forecast and put probabilities around it rather than just saying yes or no if you think they're going to renew and how many times you think they're going to renew. All right, I'm going to pause the video here and then see if I can figure this out further. Okay, are we back on? Yes. So right. So actually I removed the end month of a contract because it doesn't matter. All we need to know is the term and the probability to renew. Now look at the matrix. Look at this is a monster. And I even adjusted the capitalized first letter so I know if it's a renewal decision or not. So we've got, the months the contract is active based on the month it starts. So obviously, contracts that start in March, their first month will be different than the contract starting in January. So we got that matrix here that shows all the contracts, the months, and we need to know that in order to know if the multiple is an integer or not, and that's how we know if it's a renewal month. So you can see here, the first one we've got a 12-month contract. So look at, we got a 12-month contract here. Is it a renewal month? No, 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 no. But we get to month 13, January of the next year, and it's a renewal month. So now we have this third matrix. It's checking to see, was it a renewal month or not? If it was, run a random formula and test if a random number, if you do rand in two parentheses, that is a random number between 0 and 1. And you just do that and test if the random number it comes up with is greater than the probability. If it is greater than, let's say you have a 25% probability. That means if you do a random number between 0 and 1, 75% of the numbers are going to be greater than 25%. So the lower you put this percentage, the less likely it is to renew. So you can see here, first time renewal comes up, it does a test, it says no, and then it's no for the rest of the time. Here you can see, let's find one that tests yes. Here, this one, client 3, its renewal month is the 27th month, but that's really the let's see, what are we on here? The third one. What is this? A 24-month term. So it's really, it's gonna, it needs to check and see if it's gonna renew on the 25th month of the contract being active. So we look at this. We are here, 25th month now. What are we off here? This is saying yes because it is client 3. It's his 25th month here. So what am I missing? 25th month. Oh, okay. So look at this. Good thing I'm testing this. And this is what happens when you do this live. I picked the the top row. This is actually to define the months that it can be. So let's see. B2 actually needs to be B3 and all its this instances. So this has to be B3, and that was it. Okay, now let's just drag this across. Fun stuff here with the formulas. And we'll do, and you see the random function will update every time the sheet updates. Oh, right. Now, here we go. So the 48th one, now you can see should have 48 months here, or I mean 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3. Let me see here. Third one. Yeah, so there, so it should be in column A, B should be the check for client 3. And there it is. There's the check. And because there's the renewal month, check, check, 25th month, and it's saying no. So if it doesn't, then you got no's the rest of the way. Here's one that says yes, client 5, but it's doing every 12 months, so it had 2 yeses in a row. So this way you can actually see in a 50, let's put them all to 50%. If all of them are 50%, you can see there should be what percentage actually make it a yes on every time. How many do it? 2 of them. 2 of them come up, so the random function in their 12-month terms here, it was yes, yes, and yes. For it had to renew 3 times over the period of 5 years. And it did for this one too, and these 3. Now note, these 3 actually haven't been active as long because they started later. So none of these longer ones uh, renewed. I mean, you'd have to have a lot of occurrences, but that is a nice. I think this is pretty cool to do, and you can really do some scenarios. You can assign percentages. You know, obviously, maybe the higher contract value you're more sure of or less sure of, and just in various scenarios, it might or might not come up. Let's put the terms all down to like 4. Oops, say 4-month terms. In this case, we should see even less making it to the end. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there you can see because they got to come up. Yes, you see the furthest one is. I'll see these, and let's start them all on the same month too, instead of varying months, and then you could see evenly. Nobody makes it to the end. That means you'd have to have yes come up in that random function with a 50-50 shot. Um, oh, Jan of 19. What's wrong with these here? Oh, formula wasn't drug down into that slot. That's why I do these tests. Try to test everything. There we go. Okay, so did anyone make it to the end? No, it would take a lot to do that. The furthest one was client 9 here. They actually renewed in a 50-50 shot. They renewed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So pretty rare. And then if it renewed, you can see 1, 2, 3, good for another 4 months. Then it checks again. Came up no, so it's no for the rest. Now you can update this. Like if I just put a 1 in here, you see the thing's just updated. Every time I do this, it updates. The random function will. Also, you could just refresh the screen. If you just refreshed up here, that should trigger everything to update. And the point of this is just to see, if you're going to give percentage chances of things happening, you know, what does the revenue look like? Possibly. And maybe you just run that, like you can record the numbers. You say you run this test, say 100 times, refresh it 100 times based on the probabilities, and see what your total 5-year revenue looks like in each time. That is one way to use this tool. But pretty cool. So, all right, now that we got this working, that was probably the hardest part. Now I just need to summarize all this and put it into charts and put the actual values in, which it'll be easy now. I could use this matrix to look up everything and build it into the monthly forecast. Stand by. Okay, welcome back here. Are we going? Yeah. All right, so look at this. I've taken a simple formula. Now that we have this matrix, it's really it makes doing the monthly pretty easy. I just do a simple if formula. If the matrix says yes down here, that means it's active. If no, it's not. And then we use all this other logic to figure out, the probabilities and the months active based on the start month. So I've just done a staggered start month of each contract starting 1 month after the other, all having a term of 12, various contract values, and a 75% chance to renew. So you can see here in the monthly, if you scroll over 60 months, it has, the very amounts based on if they renewed or not. And the key here is that if you're very sensitive to contract renewals, and again, your contracts are bigger and you don't have that many, it's not thousands, it probably would make sense to use this if you had up to, say, I don't know, maybe a max of like 500 clients. This might make sense to use. Over that, then it gets kind of out of the scope. But anyway, so here's the monthly, here's the annual, which is a nice high level summary. You could basically see just a total contract value per year based on all those assumptions. And then you can see the total contract value for 5 years here. And you can see it changes every time you update something. So what you can do is then track this. Say you want to run some scenarios. Say you want to do test 1 at 50%, test 2 at 25%, test 3 at 10%, test 4 at 85%, and you want to know total contract value in each of those. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So we're gonna go, all right, so let's say we just want to set everything at 50% and record a value. So you do 50% and there's value equals, just go copy, paste values only. Put this in dollars. Make all this in dollars. You can say even you could change it just by changing the decimal here. You can get the formulas to update. So let's say you did that. So you got 512 million. Obviously, 50-50 shot, you could get some pretty big variances, especially if you got this much a year changing. Possibly that's a lot. Let's go now to, let's say we wanted to test 25%. Obviously, it should go down because you have less contracts renewing. Yeah, it didn't go down that much though. Let's say we go down to then 10% on everything, and you could try all kinds of different scenarios, name it whatever you want, and see what the kind of outcome is. Also, you could run it like say 5 times, run 10% 5 times, and see what that looks like. Well, that's actually higher. 44. It's actually not a whole lot different than our 25%. Now, obviously, all that can vary based on the dollar values that you've got making up each type of contract, and the term and all that stuff will change all of these things. So let's say, what's the other one? One of the tests, 85%. So this should be a higher number. Odds are, yeah, that now you're at 1.6 billion. So that's how the sensitivity of the revenue could change. And you can see no matter how many times we update this, it's like always above, a billion, a billion two, a billion seven, 900 million, 1.5. It's pretty, you do this 100 times, it's going to be a lot higher than if you did 100 times at a 50-50 shot of all the contracts. So that's kind of how you can use this. Uh, I'll keep this in here for now just for a reference. But you can put in whatever you want for all these things. Basically, control tab. Honestly, we don't even need this. I'm just going to put this on the pipeline to reduce redundancy. You can just put your start year right here on this, and you just know to adjust cells in this shade. Where do I want to put that? I'll put it right here. Come on. Adjust cells in that shade. And that's all you need to know to play with this tool here. So delete this. There you go. Start year, and then the annual. Oh, I did some charts here. I'm going to do a couple, so let me show you the chart. So number one, this is just showing annual value contracts per probabilities. So this is saying, yeah, let's put this into, what do we want to do? Compare mode. Let's see, does that show us? Yeah, there we go. So now we can see some values here. If you highlight it, we could also put this into, a column chart. We can make it 3D. That's cool. I like that. We could actually probably put data labels on this because there's enough space. So that looks cool. You can adjust the color of these bars just by clicking on the bars and changing the color here to whatever you want. I want to do that. Then we have, so this is showing the total value per year, and then you can see this would update if we update, if those functions go. You can see the bars changing. Then we've got annual value of contracts of each contract per year. So this obviously we can't put data labels, but we can do some things here. So obviously I've done 3D. We can do compare mode. So you see right now you can just see whatever you highlight, but if we do compare mode, you can see every chart. You can see what the values are. So that's cool. And then there's your legend down here and the years. I don't know what other charts make sense here. Maybe something that shows, like, what do we got? We could show like, let's see, because I know charting is kind of hard to do in Google Sheets. A lot of people, if they haven't done it or if they're only in Excel. Let's do chance to renew, and then, oh dang it, didn't want to do that. Chance to renew as one, and then your contract name, so you can see kind of overview of these. We probably want a pie chart. Oh, what happened? That's not what I wanted to see. Switch. Okay, obviously use, yeah, we want that. We don't want to do that. Okay, what in the world? See, sometimes Google Sheets is weird. Let me adjust this 1 second. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. So this is a nice cross section. You can just see each client and their percentage chance to renew. We don't need that. We could put a chart, make it 3D. We need a title. Per client. And then what colors do we want? Purple. We can make it a darker green. And data labels probably not gonna fit. Yeah, maybe let's put these, change decimals to no decimals. That works. Okay, so percentage to renew per client. And then you can see we change this. Let's say put the big one at 10%. 20. Let's just put some of these at 25 and put some of these at say 50. And so you can really see if you want to really like go through your situation and really model out what is expected, what percentages various contracts have, you can get a nice analysis and review of what is going on. So there's our percentage to renew versus now what we can do as well. Look at this. Now let's add another data point here. Let's add the monthly, just for the sake of less numbers. Let's add the monthly contract values in, and then we need to do a combo chart, which is going to limit the customization, but we have no choice if we're going to do that. Show both. And then we'll say series, monthly contract value is going to be on the right axis, and make that an area. We don't want data labels in here. And then let's see what percentages if we make that also an area. That looks okay. If we make this a line though with points, there we go. So you can see your percentages of the monthly contract value in the highlighted, and then the blue line is, the blue line is the percentages, the highlighted area is the monthly contract value. So you can see, you know, you have 50% chance of all these 500, $300,000 contracts go. You've got the highest. Now you can see here, you've got the lowest percentage with the highest monthly recurring revenue. So, you know, that could be interesting to see if you actually put real numbers to it. You could also do it the other way. I had it with just um, the bars across with the percentages if you want that clean look. Now this chart you could also change. Instead of seeing, now this will show you if you were to add all this up, it should be the same as this 357. Yeah. So if you added up all these things, it would equal your total, what it's just showing you it broken down. Now, if you wanted to adjust these to show the percentage of total instead of the blocks, or I mean the total per one, let's see, we can do percentage. Here we go. This one. Now, I don't think we can do 3D on this. Yeah, oh yeah, we can. So there, now you can see, assuming the entire, this should be a percentage. I'll keep it like that. So it's showing you, oh, there it shows you the amount and the percentage. So you can see client 5 is getting you 11% of your revenue, client 6 is 3%, and so on down the line. So that is another way. I'll just keep that chart on there for you. All right. Well, I guess that is it. You can zoom out of Google Sheets pretty easily there if you want to see more stuff at once. No worries. Now, what I will do is, if you want this template to mess around with, no problem. I'm going to charge a one-time fee of $45 and you will be able to purchase it. The purchase link for the sheet is going to be in the description box below the YouTube video. Note that I don't try to copy this long string and get access because I'm going to be duplicating the sheet in the actual and deleting this, so the actual sheet you get is going to be not this one. It'll be all the same numbers and all the same logic, but it'll just be a different ID, obviously. Uh, so that's all I got for you. Note smarthelping.com is the main page where this will be up here. I'll add this on top of this recent one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. This is uh, you know, version 2 of Sales Pipeline. We've added probabilities.